Hello and welcome to Real Talk with Ella. I'm your host, Daniela. And if you're new on our channel, we're all about success. We believe success isn't luck, it's all about strategy. And on today's episode, we have the amazing engineer Amarachi Okafor, who will be talking to us about using strategic IT leadership to drive digital transformation. Before I read out her profile, I'd say I was really, really impressed, and I'm sure you would all be blown away by today's guest. Trust me. So, permit me to read her profile because it is amazing. All right, so Engineer Mara Okafor is a leading figure in IT and digital transformation. She's a senior enterprise architect at a top tier bank with over 20 years of experience. Now, this is the part we need to all listen to. With over 20 years of experience in IT service management, IT governance and IT control, enterprise architecture, risk management, project management, application support, business continuity management, occupational health and safety management, branch operations, retail and consumer banking, credit analysis, and business relation management. This is awesome. So it simply means if you're a project manager, if you're into IT governance and control, if you're any of this, if you are in any of these industries, you will have something awesome to learn from today's episode. Now, let's continue. She has driven strategic projects at top financial institutions, leading significant digital transformation that has helped organizations achieve their business strategies. Now, our work includes implementing iOS standard, building robust enterprise architecture practice, and strengthening IT governance framework. See, I don't know if you're not impressed, then something is wrong because I am definitely impressed. So join me as we welcome Engineer Amarachi Okafor. Thank you, Ma, for joining us on today's episode.
Thank you very much, Daniela.
Thank you, Ma. So without wasting much of our time, we'll jump right into the question. Now, our very first question to you, Ma, is could you please introduce yourself to our listeners and explain your role to them? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Daniela, for having me. You already mentioned my name. My name is Amaru Kafo. I'm a graduate of electronic engineering from University of Nigeria and Soka, with a master's degree in electrical and electronic engineering from University of Lagos,
Okay.
and master's in business administration from Lagos State University. And then I hold a number of IT certifications cutting across different areas of technology, branch operations, customer service, funds transfer, credit analysis, and the likes. Talking about my role, give you a brief history. Started my career as a bulk teller. Wow. Yes, started as a bulk teller in a branch, and then from bulk tellering to customer service to funds transfer to cash officer. And then when we were converting a lot of third-party customers, the organization discovered that there's a talent about driving marketing and relationship management in me. So I was moved to marketing. So from there, I did credit and marketing, did retail, banking, credit analysis, and all of that before transiting into technology. Mind you, I studied engineering. I really wanted to do technology, but I found myself in operations. I had to leverage that opportunity to learn every aspect of branch operations. So, and then here in technology, like you mentioned, from technology help desk in supporting branches to IT service management, business continuity management, and currently I'm driving enterprise architecture to support digital transformation in a number of financial institutions. Wow. So let me pause. Thank you.
This is amazing. There's something my mom will say, you don't do no book, no book, no book. This is very, very amazing. I am very impressed by these numbers. Or, in our world today, we feel like there is no need for, owning so many certifications. But I'm seeing that all this have, driven you to being at this point you are now. So thank you, Ma, for that introduction.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next question. Ma, what first drew you into technology, and how's your journey in business, in engineering and business, affected your career so far, your journey so far?
Okay, from secondary school, I liked mathematics, chemistry, and physics. Those were my core subjects.
Okay.
And then I got admission to study microbiology,
Okay.
right? It was actually in my year one, I discovered that yes, I'm a science student, but I'm actually science engineering,
Oh.
science mathematics. Not that I wouldn't have done very well, but it would have made me to read so much. Engineering is about life. Just know the formula. You don't have to cram anything. The formulas are there. Just know the formula, put the formula, and then the answers will just trickle in. So that was what drew me. So I had to do a change of course from microbiology to engineering. Even though I had to start from year one, I didn't
Wow.
mind losing that 1 year because I wanted to achieve something. I'm very creative, right?
Okay.
I like to design
Oh,
and all
okay.
of that. And I think that is what drew me to technology. Then again, as a copper, I was posted to one of the financial institutions. Yeah, I was rejected because the person in quote then said he didn't want another female in
Oh.
technology. That was why I was moved to bulk ternary in a branch. But I didn't get, discouraged. I knew what I wanted. So while I was working in the branch, I decided to upskill to understand business. That was
Okay.
why I went to go and do masters in business administration.
Wow.
And while I was still hoping to get into technology, I decided to take a master's in electrical and electronic engineering. And then I began that journey. So because technology engineering is about life. Now you're talking about the relationship between technology
And
and business.
business. Yeah.
Technology is a business enabler. You can't really run any business effectively without the technology backing it, supporting you. You want to deliver a solution, even one we're using today is technology. So you can see technology is life.
Well, that is amazing. Technology is life in every aspect of the world today. You need technology at one point or the other. So thank you for that. Okay, now moving on to our next question. Okay, so you've worked with several leading banks in Nigeria. What is that one challenge? That every career has this one obstacle that has probably shaped you. So what is that one challenge you've met along the journey, and what lesson have you learned from it?
Okay, I will say stakeholder management. For
Okay.
sure. Because you're developing technology solutions, you're not dealing with only technology stakeholders. You're dealing with people from business, from operations. You're dealing with management. You're dealing with your colleagues. You're dealing with people who do not even understand technology. So you must look at your stakeholder map. There's something they call stakeholder mapping. So
Okay.
those who are powerful, those who have influence is a quadrant. So you look for that particular stakeholder in the map that they are very powerful and they are very influential, understand their requirements, be able to meet their requirements, and then you'll be able to deliver your solutions. So
Wow.
that's one of the many challenges. Of course, I cannot forget that you can go to work and you don't come back the same day, or you go to
Yeah.
work, you come back very late in the night. And then because technology is very dynamic, you cannot say that because you have understood this concept today, then you go to sleep. So that's one of the challenges. You're supposed to constantly learn to
Okay.
upskill yourself, otherwise you become obsolete.
All right. So for our next question, you would have to permit me to read from it because this is where I list out our certifications, and trust me, they are impressive. So now to the question. Your career includes several certifications like TOGAF, CMMI Dev, ITIL, ITSM, ISMS, BCMS, Cyrix, Hobbit, Prince 2, lead risk manager, OHSMS. Wow, this is a lot. Even I'm getting confused on the pronunciations, but we'll move on. Now, all of these certifications, or should I say credentials, impacted your strategies and decision making in your career so far.
All right. Like I said, learning is a continuous thing,
Okay.
and then technology is very dynamic. Now, for you to be able to deliver on your role, the first thing to do is to check what are the represent certifications, what are the represent knowledge, what are the represent skills that you need to be able to deliver on those roles. So that is what informed a number of those certifications and many more that we're not mentioning here. So you can't function or deliver effectively on a certain role if you do not understand the requirements. So in order to be able to deliver on those roles, you must be able to learn and unlearn,
Wow.
right? Because sometimes things change, right? So when there's an upgrade to a certain certification, for instance, we had COVID 5, and then we have COVID 2019. So even though I was COVID 5 certified, when COVID 2019 came out and I was moved to IT governance role, I needed to, upgrade to get COVID 2019 so that I can understand what are the new requirements in that particular role. So that is what informed those certifications.
So this simply means even if you are not in school, there is no limitation to learning.
Oh no, there's no end to learning. You'll continue to learn and continue to learn, and that's why your brain will remain very sharp. Yeah.
All right, so we've heard from her. Please continue to learn. It's important to, at every point in life, there is a skill needed for every journey. So you need to, skill up or upskill at every point in life. So before we move on to today's episode, before we continue today's episode, please, 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 this is the time where we tell you to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, leave a like, drop a like with us. Please follow us on all social medias. This is very important. This helps us, encourage us to do better. Thank you. Now back to the questions. Okay, so can you describe one project in, probably any aspect of your career that was both challenging and rewarding at the same time for you? Something that you learned from.
All right. I think I'll talk about two projects.
Okay.
One is the core banking upgrade.
Okay.
Right. I went into that project. I didn't really quite have a technical background or even functional understanding of the solution that we're going to upgrade. So it was Finacle 7, and we're upgrading to Finacle 10. So you can imagine you're in a project, you were struggling to understand Finacle 7, and then boom, you land in Finacle 10. So it was very challenging, but I also thank God for that project, right? Like I talk about learning, right? So I saw it as a new way to learn. So the only thing is, not just me, a lot of us in that project, we had to stretch ourselves, right? The management depended on us. Our customers were also looking out for the new capabilities that will come with those new solutions. And I was in technology help desk at that particular time. And incidentally, at the end of that project, I became the head of technology help desk. Technology help desk is a team that resolve first level incident from branches. So in the organization I worked at that time, we had about 250 branches.
Wow.
And what it means is that if you encounter any problem using core banking after upgrade, you refer to my team. So I understood that there was an enormous, expectation from me and my team. So the learning point then was that we were not just concentrating on certain aspects. We took it all through, from branch operations to all the units in head office. And then we began to do even simulate something like we call negative testing and all of those. And then we began to build FAQs, and then we also did the end user training, because you can't do such a project without training your end user. So it was really quite challenging. It was very insightful. It was very educative, right? And it is something that if I have opportunity of doing, I will do it again and again. So I like facing challenges. That's one of the projects. And then the second project is, I think it was just last year. It was a deployment of digital online account opening for one of the first tier banks. So I was an enterprise architect for that role. So it needed us to develop the integration and the deployment architecture for that particular solution. And for us to be able to deploy that solution, we needed to understand all the existing integration points in the bank already, and then being able to identify what are the third-party customers that we will also integrate with, and then come up with a robust design that will be scalable, that will have higher availability, that will also be very robust and building into business continuity into that solution. It was very challenging because I was new at that point. So I needed to engage a number of stakeholders to understand the already existing systems and then from there be able to design the system that we're looking up to. So those are the two projects I just want to mention for now.
Oh,
Thank you.
that is very amazing. Thank you, Ma, for that. From this from what you said, one thing I picked out is when the challenge comes, you don't just run away from it. Just be there.
Yeah, face it.
Yes, facing once and for all. And at the end, you don't even know how much. It's not sometimes it's not even about the reward you get at the end. Self satisfaction is something that comes after. So thank you very much for that. We want to get to know you outside, the IT personnel, outside the bank, outside everything. So what's one thing that you like to do for fun? When you're not thinking about
The
all the
technology.
changes you need to do. What is that one thing see, this is what helps me relax. This is one hobby I love to do.
Well, a number of things. Doing homework for my children,
Oh, this
especially
is nice.
if it has to do with mathematics. Just
Your brain is still active.
if you have to do with mathematics, you have to do the ababios of this world, the piano KKs, and all of those. So doing homework for my children is one of the things that gives me joy. And then I party. I like going to parties. going, going for wedding, wine and dine with friends. Family is very important to
Yeah.
me. And of course, just like I told you, I'm very active in the church. I'm very active in my old girls. I'm actually the current treasurer of my old girls. So those are some of the things that I do, to widen away time.
All right, thank you very much. So we're getting closer. We're getting to know her personally. So thank you very much for that. Well, me, I want to say something. Mathematics is still making your brain active. So even
Oh,
the
mathematics
fact
it's still my best subject.
Wow.
It's something I enjoy doing.
I think after secondary school, I threw away maths.
Oh no, you need to go back. Mathematics is part of the thing. It's like it's there today. Even when you go to the market to
Yeah,
buy
that's true.
stuff,
That's true.
you're doing mathematics without knowing.
This
So
one's a
mathematics
simple
is good.
maths.
Mathematics is good.
All right, you read it. Please let's constantly keep our brain active. It helps you. It should be a daily lifestyle for us. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so to our next question. So if personally, I personally love you because this is an accomplishment that in today's society, I would say, though we are advancing, but I would say when you see a woman doing something so great, you would admire. I definitely admire you. So what is that one skill if I want to be like the next engineer America for? What is that one skill you tell me, say go and learn, go and learn, pick it up?
Okay. Number one, it doesn't really have to be certification and book, right? You must be somebody who is disciplined, right? You must be somebody who doesn't take no for an answer, right? And then you must be somebody who is eager to learn. So if you have the skill, any part, because technology is actually very vast, right? Think of what is it that you'd like doing, and then you will find that particular career path that will suit that. But at the back of your mind, you must be somebody who is very resilient, right? And you must be willing to learn and continue to learn. So I will say that is it.
Thank you very much. I really learned a lot. So we are learning, we are relearning, we are growing, we are being disciplined. So I think discipline is a very important thing. I think a lot of us lack discipline. I will never lie myself. When I have things to do, there's this spirit of procrastination that comes along the way. So discipline is a very good point I'm taking home. Okay, so my next question to you now. As a senior leader in your organization, how do you manage daily challenges, the challenges that comes along during your, at the course of your career? How do you manage daily challenges?
Okay, on day to day, a number of challenges, but you take it one at a time. Prioritize, right? There's a lot of challenges, a lot of things to do, but you must prioritize your job. Now, in dealing with those challenges, you use the 80-20 rule,
Okay.
What is this 20 that when I deal with, and then I'm able to satisfy the remaining 80? So I'm thinking that if you apply that, that's what I do, it will enable you to be able to deal with that. Because you can be running after the 80 and they're not going to give you anything. But you can, if you identify those 20, looking at value, like we talked about ITL, ITL speaks to creation of value for customers, right?
Yeah.
So, in all of those challenges, which of them will deliver value to your organization much more than the other? That's what you put as priority one. So, by the time you take out the 28, apply the 80/20 rule, you would have also solved them a number
Wow.
of your daily challenges. Yeah.
80/20 rule. Please let's take a note of that. It's very important. Thank you for that. Okay. Now, this question is going into the finance sector. I'll say sector. All right. So, risk management is important in finance. Now, what is a less known strategy? This now we are not gatekeeping. That's the word. So you give us those inside strategies that we don't find online or we don't find anywhere. From your own experience, what are the strategies that can help professionals manage risks, like to implement risk management in finance?
Number one, however you want to look at it, the first thing is risk identification.
Oh, okay.
You must identify the risk inherent in whether it is finance, whether anywhere. So you
Okay.
first identify those risks. And after you have identified this, what do? You analyze the risk
Oh,
and then begin to look at the impact of each of the risk and then the probability of occurrence of those risks. You can identify a risk
wow.
and that risk, may not, the probability of occurrence is slim. And then you have another risk and the probability of occurrence, is like frequent. So that's a high risk,
Wow.
right? And that is how you're going to deal with it. And then also in dealing with risk, you look at, I'll go back to the value, right? So the risk that it looks as if this is posing, what is the value that you're going to get if you do XYZ? And then you look at your risk appetite. Your risk appetite is, what you can take as
Okay.
an organization. So those are the strategies that, so identify your risk, analyze your risk, right? Evaluate your risk, and then monitor your risk, and then report your risk. You don't have to wait till when you're reporting it to management on your own. You do all of these things. Even in your day-to-day living, identify the risk associated with what you're doing, analyze them, and then see which one you will deal with so that you can reduce the impact of the risk. There are some risks that their impact is actually very high. So what do? You look for controls that you can use to either mitigate the risk. If you cannot completely mitigate the risk, you reduce the impact of the risk. So that is how I will talk about risk and business. Thank
Wow.
you.
This is, I'm even short of words because there's something you mentioned that really hits me hard. The think about the possibility of occurrence. I think even in, let's even minus finance as a whole. I think even in business, right? We tend to handle risks as we just want to manage it, and I've not even really thought about managing risk with the thought of possibility of
Oh, sure.
reoccurrence.
Sure.
I've never really thought of
Yeah.
it,
You
and
must
it
look at
really
the
hits me.
impact and they must look at the probability of occurrence. That's
Wow.
what gives you the exact risk for that particular item.
Oh, this is amazing. Thank you very, very much for that because it really got me thinking. Thank you very much for that. All
Welcome.
right. This is our last question before we end this section. Please, before we go on, you know the drill already. Please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. See, your comment is very important so we could, get better. Drop a like to help us and follow all our social media. Please, if you want to also interact with our engineer Mara would also be dropping our social media in the comments, so you can also in the description below, so you can also follow all our social media handles in the comments. Thank you very much. Now, our last question: what is, as being in the IT space, what is every day there's always this emerging trend, emerging technology coming up. So what is one particular, upcoming trend that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, artificial intelligence is one of it. Machine learning. You hear about nanotechnology,
Yes.
right? So those are the things, and even robotics. Yes, we have a number of robotics already implemented in Nigeria, but those are the areas that will enable to improve efficiency and effectiveness of a organization. So those are the areas. And I can also talk about blockchain, right? It's also one of the emerging technologies that are helping organizations, achieve their, strategic objective and then be able to do digital transformation in a very efficient and cost-effective manner. We
That
are
was
not
very
forgetting
important.
cost. Yes.
Cost effective. Every business wants to manage costs and not make loss. So thank you. Like see, the way I really grabbed so many things. I am very, very grateful for this opportunity to learn from you. So thank you very much for coming to our podcast, this little podcast of us. So we appreciate you for your insights, your experience. Thank you very much, Roy.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Please don't forget the drill. Hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, and follow us on all social media. Kudos. See you on our next
Bye.
episode.